Miss Miller. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's good to see you. I got your email about your classes this year. How are they going so far?
Overall, pretty good. There's a couple of rough spots in one or two classes, but overall, pretty good.
Okay. So, can you tell me more about the rough spots in your classes?
I have one class that there's two young ladies that seem to be having a personality conflict. They're
Okay.
fussing with one another and causing some commotion in the classroom.
Okay. So, is this early in the day or late in the day that you have these girls?
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon? Okay. So, and it's just the two girls. It's not classroom wide. It's not.
It started out just the two girls, but
Mhm.
they're choosing sides now. And
Oh, okay.
it's something that seems to have stemmed from Facebook and other social media where there is a lot of conversation going on.
Okay. So, did the two girls start out as friends?
I don't know that they were close friends. They were acquaintances, and
Okay. Okay. Because I know sometimes on Facebook when they add each other as friends, sometimes things can get blown out of proportion. And with this age student, a lot of times what will happen is one day they're fighting and the next day they're fine. But usually, somebody needs to step in and get them back to where they can function in the classroom. So the disruptions in the classroom have been pretty severe, you would say?
it starts out with just a little name calling and
Okay.
bumping one another when they pass by, slamming the door on each other, and until it's gotten a little more severe with some name calling and.
Okay, could you hit the mouse behind you? Okay, thank you. So name calling, slamming doors, and just pretty much being, they want people to know that they're angry at one another.
Right.
Okay. And you said that this is later in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything that you've done with these girls? Contacted their parents? Have their parents contacted you so far?
I have talked to the parents.
Mm-hmm. So you've made that initial parent
Yes.
contact. That's great. And what was anything brought up? New information?
Not that I could get from either parent. They seem to kind of both be clueless.
Okay. Are the parents? They speak English?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, so the parents don't know what's going on in the classroom. I wonder if the girls live in the same neighborhood and it's carrying over into the school day.
I think they live relatively close.
Okay, so if they live relatively close, maybe they ride the bus together and they bicker and it just goes through the whole day.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've made the contact and the parents are aware of the issue. They just maybe are at a loss of what to do about it.
I think one parent was like, it's just normal, growing up kid stuff. Just leave it alone, it'll go away.
Okay.
But I think it's a little beyond that.
Normal adolescent type
Mm-hmm.
girl, female.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, so anything in the classroom that you've seen that either makes things worse or makes things better to where they're not being disrupted?
I have them far from each other.
Okay.
I mean, they were close, and we've separated them. But then, it just gives them opportunity still to pass each other and punch and, not really hit, but just bump the desk and just be annoying.
Okay. And sometimes what I see when students are moved from one seat to the next, and we put them in different corners of the room, sometimes it can amplify the problem because, now they can't express how they feel about one another, and then they shout across the room, and then it gets worse when they go to lunch, when they go to gym. So sometimes it works and sometimes it's not. And it sounds like, if I'm interpreting the situation correctly, it sounds like, because it's gone to social media, that it's not normal. It's not, something that's going to blow over like the parents maybe think it is. And So the social media thing, I'll be honest, it concerns me because it opens up the door for other students to get involved and to get sucked into it. The bullying that could result. It's just not, it's just not a healthy dynamic right now. So, okay. So far, has it gotten physical? Have they come to blows? I know you said they brush up against one another.
Not really.
Okay. All right. Because normally, as a school counselor, my first concern is the student safety, and I need to know if I need to get in there immediately and intervene, or if that's not needed. So it hasn't come to it yet. All right. So I want to ask you, what, in terms of how you see me fitting into the picture and helping. I have ideas without knowing the girls. I don't know how that'll play into planning what strategies we use to help them, but I have some tactics that I've worked with in similar situations, and I can share those with you.
Okay.
But it sounds like you make parent contact, you've moved their seats. I think maybe a peer mediation would be something that's good in this situation.
How does that work?
Okay, so it would work, and it would not be your responsibility to conduct it. It would fall on my shoulders. So what I would do is I would bring the two girls in together, and I would sit them down, and basically the first thing that they do is I inform them, this is a serious matter, and you have teachers who are concerned about you. I don't name any teachers, and if this is a problem, it's a problem everywhere. So I just, we're all concerned about you. I can tell them, I've observed it, and we've got to work. We don't necessarily have to be friends and best buddies, but we've got to come to a point where it's not interrupting our academics. So the first step to that would be, there are certain rules for the peer mediation to work, and if they're this, I would say they're a little bit toxic right now. So if they're this toxic, the first thing I would say is we have to respect one another, we have to listen, no interrupting, no name calling, no put downs, and then see if they agree to that. And if they agree to that, then I'll just walk them through the process. And we have something that we shared at the beginning of the year, and I don't know how many people are using it in their classroom, but it's called the time machine. And it seems to work pretty well. Is that something you have access to?
I have access to it, but I've not used it.
Okay. Well, so what the time machine allows the girls to do, and the time machine is usually for an immediate, in-the-moment type of, it's for the classroom type of disruption, and it seems to be really effective. It's based off of our school's district discipline policy called conscious discipline, which I'm sure you've heard about in faculty meetings. So it's based off of that. It's evidence-based, so it's been proven to work. I've seen it work. We could do that after we get to the root of what's going on. So again, they come in, I give them rules, and then I open the floor and get each person's side of the story, which we know it's going to be two different sides of the story, and you're going to hear two different things. And then we'll come up with a goal. So, for example, I've seen students who say, my goal is to ignore her. My goal is to try to become friends with her. My goal is just not to let this person get to me. And what the time machine, what I like about it is it gives the students a tool. It gives them words to say. So if you're in a classroom and a kid pops you in the back of the head and you don't like it, and you sit there and you sit there and you sit there, and then you blow up because it made you angry, and you go to the counselor's office, the counselor can help you give words and tools to help you communicate. Just say, I don't like it when you do this. So I can find out, what exactly is the root cause behind all their bickering, and then we can use the time machine and hopefully work. They'll start on two sides, and then they'll work to forming an agreement. So that's what the peer mediation model looks like. Do you think that would, I mean, I'm not going to take class time away from you. And I know we have STAR testing next week. So, are these girls testing in your room?
Yes.
Okay. So then, we'll definitely need to, act Monday then on getting them to where, I mean, because we want a good testing environment for them so that they'll be successful. Okay. So do you think that the peer mediation model would be something that would work for them? I can pull them out during lunch or during PE.
I think it'd be worth a try.
Okay. And what do you think about the parents? Now, when you say you contacted the parents on both sides, they seem to just both sets of parents. Okay, are clueless. You said. Okay, they don't know what to do. They're at a loss of what to do with these two fighting girls. Okay, I understand. Okay, so we've decided that we'll do the peer mediation on Monday.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and I'll show you. Well, you know what the time machine looks like, right? Okay. So I won't show you a picture of it, but I'll just kind of describe, if you've never used it before, what the girls do is they stand on two sides of the time machine, and they basically just start off with, are you willing? Are you willing to talk? And then the next step, they say, I wish you well, basically to kind of just build some sort of, positive relationship so that they can agree on something. And then basically you just take them back in time to when the event happened. Whatever started this initial, nonsense, whatever they can't get over themselves. And so it takes them back in time so that the next time it happens, they have the strategies. And then, I coach them really and tell them that, use your words. I didn't like it when you, I don't like it when you, whatever. I don't really know. Do you have any suspicions about what caused it?
A boy.
Okay, a boy. Okay.
I mean, what else would it be?
Yeah. A boy and social media. Okay. Probably.
That has dated both, so.
Okay. So there's a boy. Okay. So yeah, she might, so for example, they might say, I didn't like it when you started dating my boyfriend, so it's, that, it might make it a little bit more complicated on my end, but, okay. Well, is the boy in your class too?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So he's not another factor interrupting class time. Okay. Well, I think the peer mediation would be great for them. It's fast. It will allow them to really think about it. I really just want to stress to them that the reason that they're in the counselor's office is not because they're in trouble per se, but because we're concerned, because the disruptions can affect their grades, and then everybody else is in the classroom who's trying to learn as well. Can you tell me about their grades right now?
They're both average.
Average
And
students.
yeah, they've always been about the same. It really hasn't, their grades haven't fluctuated.
Okay, so they're average performing students. Okay, and they're not failing anything that you're aware of. Okay, but I mean, it could happen if this starts to get worse.
How long does that mediation meeting normally take? 30 minutes, an hour?
There's not really an average. I would not let it go longer than about 30 minutes. Some of them take, the more simple the problem, the faster it takes for them to come up to, have a resolution. But with this age, with middle school kids, it's about 30 minutes long. And that's why I say I want to take them out, have them bring their lunch into the counseling office, or, maybe during PE or athletics, whatever they have. I don't know their schedules offhand. But yes, so about 30 minutes. And when you ask that question, what I really want to express is that when they come in, I don't really like for them to relive everything and, harp on that for a long time because then their emotions get here and I have to bring them back down and in order to solve the problem. Okay. So peer mediation, any other questions about how that works?
If there's nothing improving after that, then is there another step to the mediation meetings, or is this something they do once? Do they do it once a week? Do they?
Usually once is enough, but I mean these are adolescent girls. I don't really know how big the problem is. I don't know their willingness yet. If they're not willing, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
If one of them's not willing, it's not going to work. So the next step, definitely a second phone call home, and inform. I can do that and inform the parents that we've tried this. We're concerned. We're concerned for their safety. We don't know how much goes on outside of school with their contact. We don't know if they're going to fight. We don't know if their grades, and that we're concerned. And have that parent buy-in first of all. Well, they need to be aware that it's a problem, and we don't want it to be a problem in the hallways. We don't want it to be a problem during testing later in the year. So it is effective, but it's not a Band-Aid. So usually after the peer mediation, what I would suggest is if it doesn't work, if they're still bickering and they're still fighting, and it's still becoming a problem in the classroom, is to pull them in individually and into the counseling office and see what we need to work on and set some additional goals for them, behavioral goals. So, but again, it's usually pretty effective as long as they're willing. And if they're not willing, then there's not much we can do. The principal is an excellent resource on campus. He knows, he's got, a familiarity with conflict resolution and handling crises. So he's somebody I lean on when I can't come up with a plan that's going to work. So that would be another step. Contact the parents and work with the principal and a mentor counselor that I have on campus. So any other thoughts or questions on that process?
No, I know they have one more class together that is in the morning. And I know they have problems in that class as well.
Okay.
Do you discuss that with that teacher, or? I mean, I don't know how severe it is in that class. It's first or second period, I believe.
Okay. And the girls you've just heard that, but not from a specific teacher?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can talk to that other teacher and see. We wouldn't have to do 2 peer mediations. It would just be one, not one for each class, but hopefully we could see the same results. So it's early in the morning. It's the other class. Okay.
And from what I hear, that's where it starts, is in that classroom. And I don't know, if they're sitting by each other, or what the dynamics of the whole situation is in that class. But it seems to start there every day and just gets worse. And it could be that's the first encounter they have of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that teacher's not doing what she needs to do, but.
And what class is this?
I believe it's their math class.
Math, so it's not an elective course.
Right.
Okay, so then that is important. And I'm glad you brought that up. Okay. Okay, so seems to be, and I know with, my experiences teaching, we had 7 periods in the class day, and that 7th period class was always the worst. So, you expect them to get drained at the end of the day,
Right.
and usually your afternoon classes aren't as, bright and shiny as your morning ones, but this does sound like a recurring problem. If it starts off in the morning, and I mean, who knows what happens at lunch?
Bus rides or whatever.
Bus rides, the neighborhood. I had another thought when you were sharing that with me. I think it might be a good idea for when you asked with your question about the peer mediations not being effective, or if it doesn't work, I would also come into the class and do some observations, and 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, just to see if they are different, if they are acting different when they're in the same classes together. So I think that would be a good idea, and I'd probably stop in your class for a couple minutes and see how they're doing. And
do you stop in before the peer mediation starts, just to kind of?
Well, because of testing, I think I'll just bring them in Monday.
Okay.
If it wasn't testing, I just see the extent of it. Maybe talk to some other teachers. Not say this is happening. Just say I'm concerned. I've seen some stuff in the hallways. Does this carry over into the classroom? I don't share anything that you've said in this setting with anybody else. Just like the students, they won't know anything, and what they tell me, I won't share that with anybody, but I am allowed to discuss, because it's related to their academics. I can tell you what goals we set. And a lot of times, I forgot to mention this when we talked about doing the peer mediation contract. Completely glossed over it. I'm sorry for that. A lot of times, what I do is when we draft a contract, I just ask for their permission. Can I share it with your teachers? They can help hold you accountable for the goals that you set for yourself. And this is our plan. And because I'm not in the classroom with you, they can help you too. And so that's usually, they're not going to say no. They could, but usually they don't. So that's another successful element that makes it more workable and more effective. So the observations is something I can also do if it doesn't work. But we're gonna say it's gonna work for them because so that we communicate those expectations. What about discipline in the classroom? Have the girls been receiving referrals? Have they been receiving consequences for their behavior?
In some, when it gets out of hand, they do get referrals, yes.
Okay. And I just asked that because that's another step that the parents should be aware of it.
Right.
And so we're just covering all our bases here. Okay. So in some cases, and sometimes in order to get a referral, they have to have done something pretty extreme or find something pretty extreme. And I understand that that's probably a little frustrating as a teacher to have to go through that just to get them.
The majority of the time, it's words being exchanged across the room and trying to get other students involved in the conversation, which I'm sure they do on social media networks. There's a lot of activity from what I've heard.
Okay.
But in the classroom, it's just a lot of mostly verbal exchanges now that they're far apart. But sometimes it gets pretty rough.
Okay. When you say rough, is it like personal attacks? Is it name calling?
Many name calling incidents.
And that really concerns me, just because at this age they already need additional support with self-esteem, and they're females, and their bodies are changing right now, and they don't know, and their emotions are playing catch up, and so when they're at this stage, their self-confidence is low, their self-esteem needs to be brought up. So the personal attacks, even though as a counselor I'm here to help them, I do need to communicate to them that that's just not okay. So that's something that it does concern me. You know, as adults, even sometimes, you know, if somebody says something to you that's not pleasant, you can still be affected, and kids are really affected. Um, they're you know, it's worse for them. Okay, so so it is, you know, it's not like severe where it's become physical, but you know, emotionally tolling on probably those girls.
And from what I hear about what's on their Facebook pages, it's more severe there because that's very easy for kids to do is vent there and other kids to add in and feed it and
Right.
It's more severe there than it is in school, but I do see it increasing in the classroom, getting worse and worse.
Okay. So you'd say it's related.
Mm-hmm.
So what goes on outside of the school? Okay. And you know, that's not something, you know, unfortunately I can control, or I don't even know if their parents can control. But we can get onto where they're, you know, hopefully not attacking each other there and then letting it come into the classroom. Right. Okay. So, all right. So the peer mediation, we think that'll be good. Is there anything else going on with them, or even with others? Do you suspect other students are being affected, or just these two girls?
The other students in the classroom are being affected just because of this disruption. Okay. And there's a few that are, you know, picking sides.
Okay.
The boys as a whole are staying out of it.
Okay.
The boy that caused the problem has since moved on from both girls, so
okay.
You know, that's something they should both have in common.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
but this total disruption that they're causing in the classroom, and I am concerned for their safety, and I don't want to see it end up in a fist fight or anything worse, you know, at the school or anywhere else.
Okay. Yeah, and I think these are some, you know, warning signs that it could get worse if we don't intervene and give them the tools they need to solve their problems, because you know they don't have the skills to solve their own problems, and then you mix in emotions and hormones, and they really don't have the tools that they need.
And you never really know what's going on at their house. You know, I'm not saying their parents are not bad. Their parents are parents. They work and they come home and they've got other kids and sports and this and that, and you know, you get numb to some of it. You know,
right.
But again, I don't know exactly what their home life is like.
Okay.
If they're having problems in their own home.
Right.
But,
okay. And that's, you know, that is a very good point. And I don't, you know, I don't think I'm not as familiar with them as I am other students, which, you know, makes me believe they're pretty good kids. You know,
they weren't generally troublemakers before.
It's just an interpersonal conflict that's making, you know, kind of go off the handle in a boy. So, are they new to the district, do you know?
No.
Okay, so they've been here a while. Okay, so then their parents are probably, you know, members of the community that people know, and, you know, we might make certain assumptions, but yeah, they probably just don't, you know, have any clue, and who knows if they monitor the Facebooking and the Twittering and tweeting and all that stuff. And, you know, we certainly use computers here at school all throughout the day, and they can go to the library anytime. So, I mean, the access is there. There's nothing we can do to change that. So we've got to start with them. Anything else that you have observed or you think is important for me to know before I begin the process with them?
Not that I can think of offhand.
Okay. Okay. So we'll do is Monday morning. Let's see. I'll just pull up their schedules and I'll figure out. I'll talk to their athletics or PE teacher. They're probably in athletics. Do you know if they're?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll talk to one of their elective teachers, maybe if they're in music or something, and find a time when both of them are not in a core subject, and I'll pull them out and give them, explain to them why they're here, and I can definitely let you know about their progress or how I feel like it went, and obviously, if they start becoming emotional and aggressive during the session, that would not be good. I don't anticipate that happening. But that would be something that I need to act on immediately, just to let you know. But yeah, I think next week a peer mediation would work very, very well in this situation. They sound like, they care about their grades. They care about, being good students. So, expressing to them that this is going to hurt your grade and this is going to hurt other people. I think that will help them out a lot. Now, can you tell me, so if we, essentially fix this problem, that would, and they're able to function in the classroom, is that what you would like to see happen?
Oh, yes.
Okay. That would make it easier on you?
It'd be great.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll definitely give you information about, and you know what? I can even share with you the contract that I have. I can email it to you.
Okay.
Just so you are aware of what's going
What's
on.
in it?
And that way, if you have other students later on who are engaged in the peer mediation process, then you'll know, okay, this is what they're doing. Again, as a last resort is when I'm going to pull them out of a class, a core class, math, reading, language arts, science, and testing next week. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to work around schedules, and we've got to prepare for that test. And okay.
So after you meet with them, you can't necessarily tell me details of that meeting, but you can say it was positive or that kind of thing.
Right.
General.
Right.
Okay.
I can't give you, and here's the thing is, sometimes, in an individual or in a group counseling session, you just don't know what they're going to share with you. And a student may, say,
Your brother on drugs.
My dad just got out of jail and he came home and, he was drunk, or, I'm being abused, or I can't go home. So you just never know, and that kind of stuff, it has to stay confidential. And so I can't tell you those things.
Right.
Of course, if CPS were to call you, then you'd know something's going on, and that's generally where they start, is with teachers who have seen anything. But I don't know what they're going to share with me, and I don't know if they're going to be willing. Those are the two unknowns that but yeah, I will definitely let you know if it's been positive, if they were willing to reach an agreement, what their agreement was, and what their goals are. Again, I'm going to ask their permission to share the contract with their teachers. And while I'm thinking about that, I'll probably, since you said it happens in another classroom, what I'll probably do is I'll ask them, which teachers would you like for me to share this with? All of them? And I'll ask them, is your problem, are you, and I need to figure out how many classes they share too. So they'll know who has a contract and who can hold them accountable. And it's not going to be, I know you've got a lot to do, parent contact, getting grades in, the STAR test, and all that comes with being a teacher. So this contract isn't going to be a list of 12 things that you have to do. It's what they have to do.
Okay.
And I'm just letting you know that that's what they told me they would do. And then I I'd like to follow up with you in a second session, a little shorter, just to follow up and see how you think they're doing in class.
Okay.
And then, if that sounds good.
That sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. And then what I'd also like to do is I would definitely like to apprise their teachers and their parents of their progress.
Okay.
And I'll make that, call home and just say, this is, I know you're aware of this problem. It's been, resolved. This is what we've done. These are the actions that we've taken. Parents have a lot more at this age. With minors, the parents have a lot more of a right to records and academics than teachers and other people. But so I can share some things with them. So, okay. Well, I think we've got our strategy in place. And your goal and your outcome that you'd like to see, can you just put that very briefly for me? What for these girls? Is it just getting along and not disrupting your class?
Basically,
Okay.
I just think overall they would be better students, happier people. This has just got to be, dominating most of their day is being angry, and they'd be better off if they could just let that go. But yeah, my overall goal is just to let them get along and make sure everybody's safe and have the classroom go back to normal, whatever normal was before.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we can measure success somehow.
Okay.
So how long has this been going on? I should have asked this at the very beginning.
I'm going to say probably about 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Okay. So for about 3 weeks, they've had this boy come into their life, both of their lives, and that's the problem. And now he's out of the picture, which is positive.
Yeah.
But because they're girls, it hasn't worn off, even though he's not around. So okay, so 3 weeks it's been a problem, and I'm sure if I talked to another teacher, if they were having issues,
the same
that
time
it'd be
frame.
the same time frame. And I wonder if it makes me wonder if the parents are observing anything at home that's different. If I were to prompt them and say, this started at school about 3 weeks ago. Have you seen a change in your child? I'm just curious. When you say they're clueless, I'm curious if that would turn the light bulb on for them. And I don't know if it would or not, or what the girls do when they get home. If they would probably sit behind the computer, do their homework, play on Facebook.
Exactly.
There's our problem. Okay. So, we've defined success as, they're emotionally capable of getting along with each other. They don't necessarily have to be best friends, but they have to be civil and they have to let go of some of those anger issues. Okay. And when you said anger, that it's an anger thing and they're upset, that makes me think, that there's a little more to be done after the peer mediation with these girls. So I think that would be.
Do you ever recommend, or do you ever see that it's going to like professional counseling outside of the school, other than the peer mediation and school counselors? You see it going to a psychiatrist even, or
it can sometimes. Again, I don't know all the different dynamics that are going on with these two, but. If it's out of my scope, if I'm not trained to do something, then I'm ethically bound to get them the help that they need. Community resources, because we're a Title I school, as you know, a lot of our students don't have the financial resources to get the help they need, and so I'll work with the community to get reduced fees or that kind of thing.
okay,
An appropriate community member. you know, with pure conflicts, usually it doesn't. I mean, it's not going to require that.
Okay.
But again, I don't know what they're going to tell me. You know, a child could say, you know, this has gotten so bad, I go home and I cut myself, and then that's when I need to get medical assistance first and foremost, and then we'll treat, you know, the problem. So yeah, I can make referrals if need be.
Okay.
What do you? Okay, so Monday is when I'm going to pull these girls out. Is the end of the day a good time for you to meet, or lunch, or I mean, I'm here.
Lunch would be good.
Lunchtime?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I will send you an email letting you know what time I'm meeting the girls. And if it's before lunchtime, I'll come and visit with you during lunch. I will ask that any emails that you send to me, don't mention their names, please.
Okay.
You can say per our discussion. The peer mediation we discussed yesterday or Friday, this is in reference to, you know, those kind of things. Just because if I ever get called into court, I don't want that kind of thing, you know, digitally captured.
Okay.
So, and I don't want it on your end either. So, I can shoot you an email, let you know I'm meeting with the 2 girls we discussed about, and hopefully we'll get it in before lunchtime, and if not, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. And I will probably, depending on how that goes, I'll probably that evening contact their parent. Are their parents easy to get a hold of?
Typically after about 6 o'clock, you can catch them.
Okay. Okay.
One of the parents.
And really, I just want to talk to them because I feel obligated to let them know that I'm working with their students, with their children. So, you know, that's why I want to reach out to them, and I want to suggest that, you know, you haven't communicated effectively to them, but again, they probably just don't know how bad it can get or look what it looks like in the classroom.
And it probably would help hearing it a second time, not just
Okay.
from a teacher, but hearing it a second time.
Okay.
Might make them pay a little bit more attention.
Right. And you know, I wonder how many teachers have phoned home, you know, concerned, and I don't know. But if they heard it multiple times, you're right, they would, the light bulb would go off, and I, you know, I can talk to them about solicit their help with monitoring the social media, and put that kind of mildly, you know, you have your child's password, how much time in the home is unsupervised computer time, is your child locked, you know, in a room with a computer, can you walk by it, and give them some resources as well to help them monitor that, even if they're not having a problem, it's just a good practice, you know. Because you can always say, oh, well, you know, I wouldn't let my kid have a Facebook, you know, in the 7th grade. But if you don't let them, they're going to sign up, and then you can't monitor it. So, you know, they're in a lose-lose situation sometimes. And so communicating with them and really getting them on board, I think will help the girls too. Anything, you know, we can do to help all areas of their life. I think that'll be positive. So, any closing thoughts you have about how I can help you, what you expect from me,
Well, I think that's a good plan overall. We'll try it and see where we can go. Hopefully, they are willing to work with each other.
And I'll let you know. I will definitely stop by and let you know after the peer mediation whether or not they were, you know, it was positive, and whether or not they were willing and how it went. So I really appreciate you coming in, and I really appreciate that, you know, you're concerned, and not just for how they perform in school, but their emotional well-being. And I'm glad they have a concerned teacher. And I'll be working with you throughout the process.
Okay,
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.